The United States House of Representatives, in an unprecedented action, I don't know whether there's a precedent for the U.S. House to take its time to debate and vote on the condemnation of a private citizen, but it has done that. 435 members of the House of Representatives debating the condemnation of Mr. Muhammad. Here are two members of the House on opposing sides. Calling for the censoring of Mr. Muhammad is Congressman Lantos, followed by Congressman Abercrombie, who makes a statement in behalf of free speech. Watch this, House of Representatives.
On November 29, 1993, at Keene College in New Jersey, Mr. Khalid Mohammed, a senior representative of the Nation of Islam, delivered an outrageous and violent attack on the principles of racial, religious, and ethnic intolerance. His attempt to incite violence by preaching bigotry and hatred must be swiftly and forcefully condemned by this body.
Governmental sanction against any speech, objectionable as it may be, is always suspect. The Constitution has proven to be our strongest safeguard against the Mohammeds of the world. Let us respect and revere the Constitution of the United States and vote down this resolution.
Congressman Abercrombie's position did not carry. The final vote by the House of Representatives on the matter of condemning Mr. Muhammad was 361 yea, 34 nay. You have, sir, been condemned by the United States House of Representatives. I assume you are flattered by that action.
I believe that my ancestors, I believe that the blood that cries out from the grave of my ancestors who went to an untimely death at the hands of the white wicked slave traders, I believe that they cry out. Their spirit is around me, and their spirit emanates from me. And I believe that as a righteous man of God, but as a freedom fighter and a revolutionary, it is one of the greatest honors that could be paid.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
I have one question for the white audience that's watching this. A lot of times they ask, what can they do to help the situation? And I feel that they should go over to their people and represent this issue the same way this brother puts his life on the line for us. They should be doing the same thing, because otherwise it's going to be a one-sided view. They need to reach their people as well.
Yes.
What I'd like to know is, what do they say to the KKK, the skinheads, the Nazis? They're so worried about this one brother. What about them?
Well, I don't know whether you want to suggest that all white folks support the KKK.
Well, enough of them do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Nobody says anything about, nobody disputes the facts or his facts. His facts are right and exact, and no scholar will debate Dr. Khalid, because Dr. Khalid is right.
I'm going to answer that lady's question. Half of the white population does not support KKK. But this gentleman up here is throwing prejudice towards white people only, and it's unfair.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my thing is, if what he's saying is not true, let's bring somebody forward to prove him to be a liar.
Muhammad, can you please tell me why it's blacks who are killing hundreds of thousands of blacks in Rwanda and other places? And can you please tell me why from Haiti, blacks from Haiti are just risking their lives to come here to the United States of America?
I'll tell you if I get a chance. Black people have been robbed, as I said earlier, of a knowledge of self. And when you rob people, sir, of a knowledge of self, then it means that they start to take on the characteristics and the nature of their oppressor and their colonizer. And his mind, by automatic, systematic, remote control, rules in our people. He gives them the guns and the weapons and the drugs and the alcohol, the way you did our brothers, the red man and the red woman, brothers and sisters, the way you did our Latino brothers and sisters, and then you pit one against the other and then say, look at what these people are doing.
Adolf Hitler perpetrated the Holocaust.
May I have your attention, please? Thank you.
Adolf Hitler perpetrated the Holocaust on 11 million people that died, 6 million of which were Jews, 5 million were others. Am I to understand that you would very much support his way of doing things, and him for that matter?
Sir, this is not reverse racism nor discrimination that you could tie into your statement on Hitler. If the slave master is whipping the slave and blood is running down the slave's back, and that's incidentally where the term cracker comes from the cracker man who had the crack of the whip on the slave's back. But if the slave takes the slave master's whip from him and starts whipping the slave master with his own whip, that is not reverse racism, that is not reverse discrimination, that is the slave getting out from under the yoke of bondage and oppression. I don't advocate what Hitler has done before the world. Hitler's struggle. I went to the Holocaust Memorial Museum, and I tried to separate Hitler as a freak of nature from the rest of white people. But after all that we have gone through, I know that there's a little bit of Hitler in all white people and a lot of Hitler in
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Yes, to the Jewish brother up there. Well, not brother, but the Jewish man. What about Goldstein, who slaughtered 39 Palestinians and became a Jewish hero? Publicly, rabbis said what about the fingernails, Dr. Khalid?
Said that the rabbi said that the fingernail of one Jew was worth more than all of the Arabs in the world. And the New York Times ran the lead story with the photo showing the Jews filing past his grave.
Yes.
They not only called him a hero, but a saint.
Yes. May I make this point, Mr. Muhammad? The atrocity perpetrated by Goldstein was roundly and publicly condemned by the entire leadership of the Jewish community in America, as well as the leaders of the state of Israel.
Let me ask you this.
They publicly condemned that action, and I can't even get you to look into the camera and convey even the remotest notion that you have in your heart some love for two Jews who died trying to save black people in the South. I speak of
You cannot get me to look into the camera and do that.
Yeah. May I ask you to kindly speak to that?
You cannot get me to look into the camera and show love for two Jews. I don't even know them. I live with this pain and suffering every day among my own people. Look at our babies. They're in the Oakland, in the Bay Area. They're watching Schindler's List. You have your Schindler's List, but for us, it's been a swindler's list because someone is attempting to steal our birthright. They stopped the movie. Take our babies out of the movie as though it's such a moral outrage. And then Spielberg comes in. The governor comes in. What about the statements of the Jew, Howard Stern, the comedian, Jackie Mason? What about Moshe Dayan? What about the fact that members of the Senate have made racist comments and Congress, and they were voting against me, but they were not brought up by their own colleagues in that so-called august body?
Hello. What I'd like to point out is just as you said that you can't judge all black people by one person, you can't judge white people by just Hitler. What you have to realize is that we're in a diverse nation, which is America, and we have a lot to learn from everybody in this room. I feel I do, from all black people, all white people, and anyone else who happens to be in this room with me. America's a diverse nation.
Yes, sir. Mr. Muhammad, could you please tell me, does Islam believe in Judaism and Christianity? And under Islam, are Jews and Christians are people of the book. Do you believe that? And further, do you believe, sir, that one people and one book sent by the same one God? And you referred to the people up front that they are your brothers. Is it possible, Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad, that I am your brother also? And is it also possible that we are brothers truly responsible for each other? Is that possible?
The Holy Quran says that the messenger of God